Hey everyone, I'm Caryn Solomon, and welcome to What's IGN Crushing On, IGN Africa's official entertainment podcast. I'm your host, and I'm joined as always by my producer and editor Rebecca Barches. So this is a show where we discuss all things entertainment and pop culture with a new guest every week. We bring recommendations, news, and fun facts, sometimes touching on the more serious issues surrounding these topics. This week's guest is Lebo Sibisi. Lebo is a YouTuber at Mr. I'm Just Saying, where he discusses various topics regarding celebs and entertainment. In the interview, we talk about celeb couples from Cardi B and Offset to Lily James and Dominic West. And I try and convince him to watch The Good Fight. And also we broke down what made Game of Thrones Season 8 so bad. It was really a fun chat. What did you think, Rebecca?
Fun to listen to. But the only part that made me sad was when he spoke about Robin Thicke. Because as you know, I was hella obsessed with that man 10 years ago. And then the first time I found out that he had cheated on Paula Patton, I questioned everything.
And apparently it was quite a bit. Like, it wasn't just like a one-time affair type situation. It was like a ongoing thing.
I still haven't actually unfollowed him on Facebook because I feel like it's a bit of a process that I need to go through there to accept it.
No spoilers for the interview, but when he said that when Lebo spoke about Robin Thicke making that album for Paula Patton, like saying sorry, it's like, I did so badly it went double click. I laughed. Anyway, let's not take any more time. Let's get the people into, what made Rebecca sad and me enjoy this interview. Lebo is like I've been following him on Twitter for a while now, and his opinions are wild, but also no one is as knowledgeable as him about like the intricacies of what makes celebrity culture what it is. But I will talk more at the end of the episode, but like a lot of the things that he speaks about in the interview, you can watch him talk about in more detail on his YouTube videos. But yeah, I will talk about it more after the interview, so let's get to it. Here's our interview with Lebo. So how have you been?
Yeah, I'm good, dude. Critical but stable. You just take it like one day at a time, really. It's so crazy how like our generation is literally living through like what? Is this like our second or third crisis now? Because this is crazy.
Yeah.
Like we had to get through 2008. Now there's this. Like Trump might go back to back. I'm like, yo, guys, it's actually too much drama.
We're gonna have like the best stories to tell, though, I think. But also like the stories.
No, literally.
It's gonna be like kind of like unbelievable, like.
Yeah, like how are you gonna explain to your kids that you lived through like 2 generation-defining recessions, a global pandemic? Like it's crazy.
But we live and we learn, I hope.
Yeah, it builds character.
I was like, I hope things will get better. We don't know.
Yeah,
so
literally just take it one day at a time.
Yeah. So I've been a fan of your Twitter account for a while now. And and when I started the podcast, Keough was like, you have to have Lebo on. Like she was like, you guys would have the best conversation. So wait, so now you started your YouTube channel. So why did you decide to start one?
Yeah, I finally bowed to peer pressure. Like, it's so funny. Would you believe, like, people have been telling me to start one since, like, 2012.
I can imagine.
Like, literally. No, literally, since, like, I suppose, since, like, you jumped on, like, Twitter and stuff. So I always used to be, like, during university, like, obviously you picked up from, like, my Twitter. I'm a bit outspoken. So, like, I used to do that stuff on Facebook. Then Twitter came. And, like, that's where I really, like, found, like, my niche, I should say. That's where, like, I get all my news. Like, everything is always happening on Twitter. It's literally the first thing I do in the morning. I wake up in the morning, I curse the heavens, then I log into Twitter for headlines. So literally, like, that's where it started. So then, like, people would always be like, okay, so, like, why don't you, like, start, like, a blog or something, and then I'm like, now I've got commitment issues. So like I would do it. Like there's still stuff, like if you Google it, like there's still like stuff I've like written and like posted like back in the day and stuff, like floating in and around. Like maybe like it's the sort of thing like I'll write something like once every like 2-3 years or something, but it's always like, I don't know, it's been tricky to create stuff like by routine. Like I can do stuff in the moment sort of thing. But then when it's time for me to actually do something like, oh my goodness, you've got like a weekly submission, like I get like writer's block, I should say. So that's pretty much why it took me so long. So then I was like, okay, listen guys, like we're in lockdown, like I'm not going anywhere else. I'm always on the online anyway. I might as well try. So gave it a shot. And I suppose what's really cool is I'd been thinking about it for a while. So like I did like all my research and stuff beforehand. So the sort of person, like I like knowing how things work more than anything. So like when I started getting into YouTube, like let's say like in the last 2 years or so, like I started watching actual like YouTubers. Before, you just use it for like music videos and like highlights of stuff, but then when you actually started watching actual content creators, I started looking in towards the back end of things, like seeing how they monetize Twitch and everything. So technically, to be honest with you, I could have started my channel like last year, October, November, but again, commitment issues. So like I literally have to be bullied into this thing like all the time. So eventually I was like, you know what? Like I finally found like, it took me like 2 months just to find like my video editing software sort of thing. So I'm a bit neurotic like that, but we're here now, we move.
And I get that. I've been starting this podcast for like 2-3 years and then lockdown, and I was like, might as well. If anything,
yeah, it makes sense, but it fits in with like everything else you do anyway. Because like even like with your stuff that you used to do for Cosmo, and then like you started your newsletter, so like I suppose like you've got like an integrated system.
I suppose so. So I want to know, like, how do you decide what to make videos about? Like, is it in the moment type thing?
Kind of, like I try to stay current. And I don't know, Pia will tell you, this is why she would say that you should have me, because like I've got very strong opinions about very random things, So I think like, I imagine like down the line, like I'll be able to do that sort of thing. Like maybe I'll send you a link to some of the like articles I used to write about. Like I used to, like the way I watch something, like a movie or a series or something, like if it really strikes me, like I start looking at the ideological slants of it, like the philosophy behind like how like Chuck and Blair is like a toxic relationship, you know what I mean? So like, and then I start thinking about how I can justify that, how I can relate it to someone, how I can make it current. So pretty much that's how I make like my YouTube videos as well. But it's just that lately, well, besides being busy, like I haven't had the time to like really make like, those really long form video essays. Like you see, like some of my videos are usually less than 5 minutes because, it's current affairs. It's literally happening now. Cardi B is being cheated on right now. Therefore, it has to be like now, But like my more long form ones, it's like that sort of thing. Like I'll be passionate about something and then I'll go do some research. I'll think about it again. I might rewatch the series. And then just to make sure like my argument is succinct, you know? Because like I really don't like push back on the things I say. Like I'm very passionate about my stuff, Like you don't want to hear like how I feel about certain things. So that's why like sometimes it takes a bit longer, but the content I create now, it's more like current affairs, Like the next video I'm going to make, it will probably be in like the next 2-3 days or something. I'm going to talk about these Instagram scammers because I don't know if you heard that Dan Bilzerian's getting arrested.
No, tell me about this.
So, Dan Bilzerian, like Instagram, the alpha male, the guy, like all the women, gambling, like goats and snakes and everything. So it turns out, basically, he's been embezzling money from that like marijuana company, that CBD company that he has, Ignite. So what he's been doing is he's been charging all his lifestyle expenses to the company account, but it's a listed company. It's listed on the Canadian Stock Exchange. So you have to report that sort of thing. And that sort of thing is kind of illegal. So he's really seeing flames. And now people have been doing like a really deep dive about it, like, just exposing everything. Because for years, like people are always like, wait, how is this guy doing this? Like, where is his, because you've seen his lifestyle, it's ridiculous. People are like, how on earth is he able to afford this? How is he doing all of these things? So then people are like, oh no, he made his money playing poker. But like the biggest poker jackpot in the world is only $2 million, but this guy has been balling out of control. So it turns out his dad used to work on Wall Street, just embezzled some cheeky funds there. Then he ran off to like a tax haven. So that's basically what's been funding Dan's lifestyle. So then that's what's been doing it for the last few years. You know, you get big on socials. Then he used all of his clout to start this marijuana company. And now that marijuana company, it's a ridiculous amount. It's like 35 million in like debt, basically. And they've been losing like millions of dollars year on year. Like CEOs keep getting hired and fired. People keep flooding in and out. Like it's a whole thing. But basically he's a scammer. That's the long and short of it.
But like, why do you think that people, I mean, do you think they won't get caught?
No, I think, I don't know, this is something that I'm also trying to understand, you know, because it's like, it's always the people who like don't earn their money that are the loudest about it, you know, like it's always like the scammers, you know, you got Fire Festival, Hush Puppy, you know, like they're really, really loud about it, you know. I think it's just the whole thing of like, they have their ideas, but they don't have the implementation, because this is something I maintain. I think a lot of these ideas are actually good ideas. Like Fire Festival, this is a hill I will die on. It is a good idea. It's just that Billy lacked follow through, you know? Yeah. Obviously, like, it wasn't a good idea to rent out a pirate ship as soon as you got the money, but I get where you're coming from.
But he's like marketing.
So I think just to answer your question.
That's why it was.
No, he really understands. That's what I'm saying. Like, he really understands his audience. Like even just watching the advert, you're like, oh my God, I want to go, you know? You just see like the biggest influencers, like the visuals were amazing, like the music, everything. It made sense. It was just like Coachella on like a desert island, basically. So it made sense. But now the problem is guys want to chew the money before doing the work. That's the real problem. Like, I really think if guys just like took the time to say that, okay, listen, we want to have fun, but let's actually just deliver on the project, even if it's like not great, as long as we actually did stuff so that we don't get arrested or sued, we should be fine, you know? So I think that's the big issue. Like they want to get to the finish line before doing the actual work. Yeah.
Okay, so
it's a self-control problem.
Yeah, so let's talk Cardi B and Offset. Like, so now they are back together. So do you think they will like ever quit? Or are we going to be going through this forever?
We'll be going through this forever, in my opinion, because, you know, I always say this thing, you know, people will treat you the way you allow yourself to be treated. So, like, when she took him back the first time, like, she set a precedent. When she took him back the second time, the third time, when she got charged for assaulting that woman, you know, like, clearly you've decided, like, this is what you want for your life. This is what I was saying in my last video. Like, ultimately, like, look, we can't force you, you know? It's the same thing with Kanye. Like one thing I've really had to make peace with is like, guys, we can't like intervene. Like, it's not like you can like get someone like committed by force, you know, especially when they're not technically a danger to society. So they're not technically harming anybody else. They're adults. They pay their taxes. So there's really nothing we can do about it, you know. With the whole Cardi B thing, like, you've seen the follow-ups since then. Like, she's made so many videos, like, slandering all of us on the internet for not understanding the relationship, saying that you people I don't care what you think, you know. It's really us against the world, you know. Like, we've been through this, I don't know how many times. Do you remember Rihanna and Chris Brown?
Yes.
You remember, like, it was a mess. People were like, Rihanna, what are you doing? Even Diddy, of all people, was saying, Rihanna, this is not a good idea. And she said, ain't nobody's business. They made a lovely song, great music video, and they carried on. So what can you do? You can't force. This is the problem with adults. You can't control them. So, like, I think we're going to be going through this for a while, but it's whatever, really.
I think Offset is going to end up leaving, and that's going to be the end.
Yeah, 100%. That's what happened with Ray J and Princess.
Yeah, and Diddy and Cassie.
Oh, yeah, well, like I said.
Like, so I mean, like, Cardi.
It's frustrating. I know. I can hear it in your voice. It's frustrating, but what can you do?
It's like every time.
You honestly, like, have to protect your peace.
It's like every time she announced that she's getting divorced, I get like so excited for her, and I think this is the last one now. Next time she announced, I'm not going to believe her. Like until he leaves.
Honestly, it's like economic crisis. The worst words in finance. This time is different. You know, the problem is like you always know like it's a toxic relationship when that's always your justification. No, guys, you don't understand what we've been through. You don't understand the history. You don't understand like, but dude, we're literally third parties. We're working with all the information we have, you know.
Yeah.
So I don't know, like I don't know. I'm not a rocket scientist, you know, but like I just don't think like someone consistently cheating on you has the best interest at heart. So there's that. But like I also think we need to have a more mature approach to relationships, like something that can be a more healthy compromise. Because remember the whole Will and Jada thing.
Yeah.
You know, we all have like our open marriages and entanglements and stuff. I think if you guys can communicate effectively as adults, you'll be fine. The problem with this one is they've explicitly expressed that Offset is cheating on her. He's violating their agreement.
Yeah.
Which is not great, you know. But if they had a situation where it's okay for them to like see other people, then have at it. You know what I mean? Love is love.
No, but exactly that. Like because she is, you know, assaulting people he's cheating with, and apparently getting upset every time he cheats, and he keeps cheating. That's the problem. The problem, if he was cheating and there was an agreement they had, like that's cool. That you do your thing.
Then it's technically not cheating. You know, cheating has nothing to do with sex. It's about the agreement.
Yeah.
Like if you're violating what we agreed to, that is cheating. You know. So like the whole thing is like, look, she set a precedent, and the fact that he knows. It's literally rinse and repeat. He'll cheat on her. She says she's leaving. He'll do something dramatic. He'll buy a Rolls Royce. He'll organize like a concert. He'll get the billboards, whatever. Like you saw him like bragging on the one Instagram post where she had all her Birkin bags, and then he's like, I bought 13 of these bags. You know what I mean? He knows like it's a formula. He knows it's like, okay, this is what I have to do. She'll never leave. It's only when she has to go full Paula Patton. Do you remember Paula Patton and Robin Thicke?
Yes.
That is what needs to happen. You need to stand your ground on some, like, okay, just to recap for people who may be listening, Robin Thicke was caught offside like quite a few times. He was having like unprotected sex with groupies, you know, bloodlines. Like he got a bit too excited, good times. So Paula Patton, who was his wife and the mother of his child at the time, said, nope, I'm out. And she stood her ground on that. He literally went to the studio, recorded an entire album, made it Paula. He was like going to every news site that would have him saying he's sorry, he wants another chance. And she said, no. I think he sold something like only 10,000 copies in the first week. Album went double acrylic.
Double acrylic.
But that's how you have to do it. You have to stand your ground. It's the only way.
But I don't know, like maybe it is sort of like this is what they like. Or maybe this is what she likes. She likes this kind of back and forth. That's what we don't
remember.
Maybe this is part of the
wallflower. We accept the love we think we deserve.
Yeah.
It can't be helped, dude. Like I don't know what to tell you. You know, did you ever watch Scandal? I don't know, like how big you are on Shonda Rhimes. But basically, there was this line that basically says, this guy really liked this girl, but she had like a really low self-esteem. Like she didn't understand like why he liked her, what he saw in her. And then he's like, it breaks my heart every day that you can't see you the way I see you. That's literally what it comes down to. Like, I think a lot of people in bad situations, just speaking from experience as well, like a lot of people, the reason they get taken for a ride is because there's this term in accounting and stuff, they don't recognize themselves at fair value. Like, it's the whole thing, like, do you know who I am? Like, do you know who I am? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like you don't see yourself. Like, you think, like, it's okay for someone to treat you like this, you know? Like, I'm pretty sure Cardi B is worth more than Offset. She's definitely more successful than him as an individual. She's more culturally relevant. She has number ones by herself, you know?
Yeah.
Like, and not to say that, like, and she's actually reasonably attractive as well, you know? She's a cool person. She's got all of these amazing qualities and stuff. So then I'm saying to you that why is someone with all of this going for them, like, taking this kind of behavior? You know what I mean? So, like, it can't be helped. Like, people just have to start seeing themselves. It's the only way you can, like, I don't know, minimize shenanigans, I guess. You have to stand your ground, saying, nope, I'm not going to play this thing.
So, in your one video, when you were talking about, like, the Will and Jada, like, entanglement situation, you said, like, you think that they handled it badly. So can you explain, like, more to that, like why you said that.
Like they handled it badly, specifically for the question you're asking me. Can you explain? They didn't have to explain. You know, like it's their marriage. Like who are we? Like we're plebs. You know.
Yeah.
So like you guys will sort it out at home. You just go full radio silence. I mean, think about like all the elite cheating scandals of our time. You know, Brad Pitt and Angelina. He never explained. You know, we all just had to deal with it. We had to just accept like, hey man, this is where he's at now. Him and Jennifer have handled it. You see, they're still very cool now. You saw them at the it was the Golden Globes, and then you saw them again with that table reading of Fast Times. You know, they've sorted it out. You know, and still to this day we don't know what happened. Do you remember? Was it last year or the year before? No, it was last year because I keep bringing it up. Last year when Prince William cheated on Kate Middleton with one of her best friends.
Yes, never forget.
Story disappeared within one weekend. You know. No press conferences, no discussion, nothing. They handled it at home. And that's just how it goes, you know. Because they handled it privately, we all just had to accept, okay, this is the situation, you know. But now, when you start speaking about your things publicly, or even privately, if you start coming to your friends asking for advice and stuff, like you're asking people to assign a value judgment, you know. Yeah. Cardi B keeps talking about her thing in the streets. Jada Pinkett is busy having this red table talk, inviting all of Facebook to come see her family drama, you know. We're going to have an opinion. If you don't want us to have an opinion, don't talk about it, you know. Will literally said, like, now I have to be here performing for Black Twitter. He doesn't even like us like that, you know what I mean? Just don't talk about it, you know. Like, it's your drama, because this is a point I made with Cardi B as well, and I have to expand on this now, because this is something we were talking about in the fallout from my latest video. I was saying to them, like, look, personally, and I know people in my life can quote me on this, I don't believe in venting. Like, you know, I don't like talking about problems for the sake of talking about them, you know. Like, if you come to me with a problem, we will hammer out a solution. We can commiserate, we can cry about it, you know, we can engage, we can eat the ice cream and everything, but there has to be a solution, you know. For me, you can't get cheated on twice. The second time, you're just choosing, this is the life you want for yourself, which is fine, but don't involve me, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You can't come to me and say, Lebs, oh my God, I got cheated on again. I'm like, you didn't get cheated on again. You ratified this behavior. Last time we talked about this, we said, let's leave, let's move on, you know? But now, second time, come on, mate. But Cardi B, I don't know, what are we on, like the 27th time? Like, it's not worth talking about. You're doing this for headlines now.
No, but it's exactly like the whole headline that said, she wants to leave him before he cheats on her again. Like, girl, we've been knowing. Like, we know you being cheated on. You know. It's gonna happen. Yeah. Like,
I also think it's pretty backward, the whole, like, you know, they have a kid together thing.
Yeah.
So, like, a lot of people make the argument, like, you know, this is the father of my children. We're bonded for life and everything. Yes, I agree with that. You are bonded for life in the context of your children. It doesn't mean we need to be tied together romantically.
Yeah.
Know? I'm just saying, like, look, if you cheat on me, like, I wear a shop, we can move on with our lives. We can have a healthy co-parenting situation. Lots of other celebrities do this. Halle Berry, remember she had a kid with that model, Gabriel Aubrey. Like, they're completely separated. That's life, you know? Bradley Cooper and Irina Shayk, you know, they broke up, but, like, it seems to be sustainable. Jennifer Garner, Ben Affleck, it happens. Like, we just move forward. In fact, Brad and Angelina, they're divorced now, but they've got, like, 87 kids, so... You have to make it work, dude. But like, I don't think like there's no way you can justify to me. You have to come with like some astrophysics or something to tell me why this is like a healthy or acceptable situation, you know? Like, if this is what you want to do, cool. But don't come and explain it to me like it's the right thing to do, because it's not. No offense.
While you were saying that, I was thinking of Kylie and Travis as well. Like
yeah, that's another healthy situation.
They seem to have a good thing going. No, I'm just like...
You saw they even did a photo shoot together.
Yeah. So, like, I mean, I don't know if they, you know, friends with benefits type situation, but like, it just seems it seems healthy. Like, I kind of understand.
Yeah. You know, like, they come together for Stormy. They'll do their photo shoots together. Things seem to be fine. I think they're both dating new people. I have to just double check on that one. But, you know, like, it seems to be healthy. You can do it. I mean, even like eventually Courtney and Scott managed to get it together.
Yeah.
So that's always good. Like, I think it's possible, but I think fundamentally all of these things is just a breakdown in communication. If we can communicate effectively as adults, even if we need like a mediator or arbitrator or something, we need to be able to just express ourselves clearly so that we can all get what it is we're looking for. Because, you know, it's a bit controversial to think, but I also don't think cheating is as black and white as it can be.
Yeah.
It's very wrong. It's very bad. But I think the lack of communication in earlier phases in a relationship is what causes this. Like Esther Perel has a lot of material on this sort of thing. And again, we're not justifying. We're not saying it's okay. It's not right. I'm not saying it's okay. I'm just saying that if we communicated effectively, we wouldn't find ourselves in this situation.
But like going back to the Will and Jada thing, do you think that like for them, they just found this as a new way of sort of like capitalizing on their relationship? Because I think with the Red Table Talk, they kind of market it. Well, Jada's kind of marketing their lives as being very open, like being willing to share. And then, you know, that's why she brought the relationship to the table.
Yeah, it's also like, 100%. Like, I think it's a very one-sided, to be honest, because for me, the way I saw it was that Jada's just proving by doing that she's not a hypocrite. Yeah. Because remember, with the Red Table Talk, it's always people coming there to like tell their side of the story, atone for their sins, you know, get a talking down from Jada. So she just wanted to prove that, okay, listen, I can also take my own medicine as much as I dish it out. So like, I appreciate that aspect of it. I just don't think it's great. It's great for the public because Will was getting roasted for I don't know how long, like, or shame. But you know,
she could have come on her own.
I get it. I get the. She could have come on her own. She could have talked to her mom.
Yeah, exactly. She could have spoken to her mom about it.
But like, it also does show that he loves it. That he was willing to go through all that drama with her.
And I think like we all kind of thought that they had some type of like open relationship. Like people been thinking.
Yeah.
And then,
it was one of the great conspiracy theories.
Yeah. But then in your video when you're like required watching Focus, I haven't seen that movie. But
I think you'll really like it. I think you'll really like it. It's very sexy.
But I saw him and Margot in Suicide Squad and I was already thinking like they have chemistry. And they've
got crazy chemistry. Exactly, because now Focus came out first, then they did Suicide Squad. Then I'm like, I know what's happening here. you know, it's one of those things like you can't prove it, but you know, like I said, I can't prove it, but I'll sign the affidavit.
Now, I get that a few times, like with co-stars. Have you seen this Lily James, Dominic West thing?
Yo, God.
What is this about?
I can't believe it. Oh my goodness. Wow, guys. And I really like her actually.
Me too.
She's actually like you saw her in Baby Driving yesterday.
Yeah, and like Cinderella. Like I don't know.
She's got that thing. She's very wholesome. Like I really like her as a person. She's like so wholesome, but now you want to be a mistress. And also Dominic West is just out here, But like he's also got that thing. Like he looks like a guy who has affairs, to be honest with you.
Yeah, that's what I also thought.
He's got like that Christian Grey energy, but like older.
But when he was in Mona Lisa's Smile, and he was like a professor type thing, and he was having an affair with Maggie Gyllenhaal, and I was like, this guy suits this role.
He looks like a cheater. Like, remember Chris North, Big from Sex and the City?
Yes.
Have you noticed how that guy is literally always being cast as a cheater?
Except for that one Hilary Duff movie. We was like,
the perfect date. I know the movie. I rewatched it because I'm like, okay, this is the one time I can say he wasn't cheating because he was perfect in The Good Wife.
Oh my God. I don't think I've ever hated a man more than I hated him in The Good Wife.
Peter Florrick really put her through the most. Like, wow. Like, like in season 7 when she became a baddie, she was dating Denny Duquette, just doing her own thing. I'm like, yes, finally. Like, you deserve this.
But I mean, I like that. Yeah, I suppose they had an arrangement, which was good. Which he was
for political reasons, because she was running for like mayor and senator and all of those things. So it made sense.
Oh, I love that show.
Like she was like, I'm done with it. Like I was talking about it. Was it yesterday or the day before? That is one of the perfect shows of our generation.
Definitely.
Like I don't think there's a single bad season.
I will go down as saying that's like the best written show I've ever watched. Like I love The Good Fight too as well. But
Do you know, like, I love The Good Wife so much, I refuse to watch The Good Fight.
no, The Good Fight is
Like,
it's
I know,
different, but it's
I
good.
hear it's amazing. I hear it's amazing, but then I don't like watching non-canon things because I feel like it might besmirch the original.
No.
Like, I love Breaking Bad, but I refuse to watch Better Call Saul. I don't care how many Emmys you win.
But it's like, Amy, they even bring the same judges back. Like David Lee features. It's just perfect. Like I have a friend who's just like you. She was like obsessed with The Good Wife, and she refused to watch A Good Fight. And during lockdown, she started watching The Good Fight, and she's like, "What the fuck? Why have I not been watching this the entire time?"
Yeah,
Tired.
like my favorite line from New Girl. Did you watch New Girl?
Yes.
My favorite line from New Girl was in season 1. I think it was episode 12. Should be 12. When they went on the bus, Nick said to his girlfriend, he's like, "I've seen the research. I don't believe it." That's how I feel. Like, I know you can give me all the stats. It could literally win all the Emmys every single year. It won't see me. And mind you, like Diane Lockhart's one of my all-time favorite characters, but it won't see me. It's too heartbreaking, dude.
I was just gonna say it has Daroy Lindo in it, and he's just like the best.
No, I know you're saying all these amazing things that I know 100% you're probably
Michael J.
right,
Fox comes
but it's
back.
fine. I don't want to know.
Elizabeth.
Yeah, he was. Elizabeth Tassioni is a champion. I loved her. So
Okay,
I know you're making a very compelling argument, but I don't care. You know, it's unfortunate.
Okay, say your wild thing.
Okay, so like, you know, Game of Thrones, I was literally thinking about it this week. Do you know, like, season 8 was so bad, I don't think I can ever rewatch the show, like a single episode. I might even delete it from my entire library. I was thinking about it like this weekend. I'm like, I actually can't rewatch it because I'm like, what on earth?
How I feel that way about How I Met Your Mother. Because the finale was so shit. I couldn't even watch the other seasons. I'm like, I have no interest in rewatching the show at all. Even though okay, it wasn't my favorite, but I enjoyed it enough. Like I laughed.
You were invested.
Like, and it was also sometimes like an easy laugh. Like New Girl, but no, I'm just still angry about that finale that I won't watch.
Yeah, it was an abomination. You must search my handle and Game of Thrones season 8. Like, I've been talking about this thing since. Like, it's like a vendetta at this stage. Like, oh my goodness. Like, they really, really, really bottled it. It really was a top 10 all-time series.
Yes.
It had the potential to be number 1. You know, like, better than Breaking Bad, better than The Wire, better than Sopranos. They had that potential. And these guys, by virtue of not consulting, just butchered an entire, like, a decade's worth of work, you know? Like, practically compromised people's careers, you know? It's like, I don't know. I can never get over it, really, because, like, you know, Khaleesi was one of my all-time favorite characters as well. Tyrion Lannister, Tywin Lannister, Cersei Lannister, you know, like, they're so complex to the point, like, you know, it's like trauma. I'm blocking out a trauma in my mind. I'm like, no, it's fine. It didn't happen. I'm just going to go read the books. I think I'm on, like, the 4th one or something now. So I'll carry on reading the books. Hopefully, like, they land the plane a bit more easily on that one. But, like, no ways. Season 8 was an abomination.
Do you think that they should have waited until he was done writing, or he should have sold once he was done writing the books?
They didn't even have to do all of that because HBO literally said to them, you have a blank check. You can take as much time as you want. You can use as much money as you want. Just make it right. These guys did not consult D&D. They didn't consult anybody. They didn't even go to the bloody, like, the fan-made Wikipedia to talk to one of those editors, you know? I'm telling you, if you just went to Comic-Con and literally talked to, because, you know, there's people who are, like, literal, like, fanatics about this sort of thing. Like, guys who know all the lore, all the backstory, all the intricacies. I'm just saying, if you literally consult with people, you know, like, collaborate with the rest of the writers, you could have really made something that made sense, even if it wasn't technically canon, because the books aren't finished and will likely never be finished. You could have made it, like, at least plausible, you know what I mean? But, like, it was just so theatrical. Like, it was honestly like watching, like, it's like Michael Bay created the whole season, you know? Like, you know, you're just going for, like, these really theatrical set pieces. Like, people just, like, literally, it's just shock value. You just want to blow stuff up, you know? So, no, it's still, I'm even getting heated at this moment. Like, my goodness.
They should have just taken longer or handed the reins over. I don't know how that worked, but if they didn't want to finish it, They should have given it to somebody who could, instead of just doing
They
like a
literally
hasty job.
they overestimated themselves. They literally, the two of them sat there and wrote out the season. They didn't collaborate, they
Yeah.
didn't consult. You even saw the table read of the season before they started filming, where the cast was like, wait, what? Excuse me? You know, you have poor Khaleesi here, Emilia Clarke, busy apologizing to Beyonce, saying, listen, like whatever you see this season, please don't like hold it against me. Now I'm apologizing to Beyonce before the thing is even out. My goodness.
Oh my
No,
gosh.
man, it's actually like legitimately tragic. But what can you do, dude?
Maybe they'll remake it one day.
They must make an anime. I'll watch that. It's fine.
Oh, that would actually be cool. Because
Do it
we just
properly.
needed more. Like, I needed to know why she went mad. I needed a longer descent into madness. You know what I mean?
John
Like,
was a Targaryen for literally no reason. He
Jesus.
literally was no reason. They did nothing for it. They did nothing for it. You're telling me she went mad? You know, like these dragons, you were saying these things were invulnerable. Now suddenly, like Euron Greyjoy can like no scope them from a boat. You know,
Mm.
the Night King, you've been building him up as this like villain to end all villains. Now he just gets dunked on by an 11-year-old. You know, a very cool 11-year-old, but like okay. You know, like Cersei dies in a construction accident. I'm like okay. Like
Yeah, no.
Brienne and Jamie, you know, there's so many things. We can literally spend the whole evening just talking about all the holes and mistakes that were in that show. So it's fine. You know, we're going to focus on the positive. The Good Wife was a perfect series, which was amazing because it had 7 seasons. The Good Place is a perfect series. This is the one I was talking about yesterday, actually, as well.
I haven't seen
Because
Good Place.
you haven't seen it. You'll
No.
like it. Kristen Bell's in it.
Yeah, no, I love Kristen Bell.
I've always had a soft spot for her since I was a child, actually, because of Veronica Mars.
Yeah,
That is
the
still
best.
one of the best shows of my life. Like I understand why like we were so fanatical that we had all these crowdfunding drives to like make a movie, a revive season. It was all justified because that really was one of the defining shows of like certainly like my childhood. Veronica Mars and the OC, Friday Night Lights, can't tell them anything.
Did you like the revived Veronica Mars series?
Yes, I liked it because
Me
they
too.
resolved everything.
I also like
They
people
sorted it out.
hated it. I really enjoyed it.
It makes sense canonically because if you watch the original series, then you watch the movie, then you watch the revival, they literally followed everything perfectly. Like it was actually canonical, and I like the way it ended because then you're
Yes.
like, okay, now it's really done. They've sorted out their loose ends. That's important. Knowing how to finish a story. I think coming back to How I Met Your Mother, I think that's the problem we had because How I Met Your Mother went 10 seasons. 10 seasons, but each season was 24 episodes. You know, that's crazy for like a sitcom where you've got like a set end goal in mind. So they had to keep coming up with like different things, you know, when it could have technically ended in like season 5 or something.
Yeah.
But then they had to keep carrying on. The same thing happened with like all these other like sitcoms, I should say, Big Bang Theory, Two and a Half Men. Like I understand syndication's important and everything, but you need to be able to tell a story. So that's why I like the way things are going now, where you're finding like shows are a bit shorter now, maybe like 10 episodes a season. It lost 4 or 5 seasons and it's done. You know, it makes for better storytelling.
I think there's more options now as well. Like with all these different streaming networks, people like they can make more. So and there's always more jobs available. Whereas I think people thought, okay, if Friends ends now, okay, not Friends because those they all became like famous. But I mean, if How I Met Your Mother ends now, like season 5, nobody will know these actors, and who knows if they'll get another job on one of the 4 channels that we currently have. Whereas now there's like a million, and there's plenty of jobs available for people. I mean, like Meryl Streep, Nicole Kidman is doing TV. You know, there's so much.
Yeah, we're in the streaming wars now. It's crazy. All the major movie stars are going to TV now. Because like I think the main thing with cinema, what's really happened is because it's so expensive now, like that's why we're getting so many sequels. People want to, when guys make like studio movie, like for the cinemas, they want to make sure that it hits, you know. So they want to do stuff that's been proven. That's why Fast and the Furious is the biggest franchise, because they know that regardless of what happens, this thing's going to make at least $1 billion, because those are the issues they're facing. So everything's in TV now. The best storytelling is on TV. So
Definitely.
what's your favorite series at the moment?
I'm gonna say The Good Fight.
The good fight. Are you serious? Is this like genuinely like your thing?
Um, yeah, no, I think it is the good fight. I feel like there's a
Excellent.
few that I like, but because I watch things so quickly now, I feel like, you know what I mean? Like, I watch it so quickly, by the time it's done, I forget about it. But
Oh
that's the
yeah,
show
so it's recency
that like
bias.
every episode after I watch, I'm like, this is the fucking best thing I've ever seen in my life. Like every
I
single.
feel you.
So I think that is my favorite show that's like currently running. But
Like, do you watch like Succession and stuff?
I don't watch Succession. I want to start watching it soon. The minute I
I
get.
think you'll like it. It's like Arrested Development, but like with billionaires.
Yeah, no, it sounds amazing.
Yeah, we really cleaned up. We cleaned up at this year's Emmys, so that's really good. I think you'll really enjoy it. Yes, I'm saying we. I'm that invested in it. So that's a really good one. I think the best show I've seen of like the last couple of years is Fleabag. That
Oh
was
yes, no,
perfect.
Fleabag is excellent.
And I loved it because it ended. It's over. You know, there's none of this like, oh, let's carry on the story. They told the story they needed to tell, and it's over. That's what I think is really fantastic about it.
But I
You
think
know, like I really like these short form series.
like they've been doing that.
The British just do it better. Like, did you watch Bodyguard?
I didn't watch Bodyguard.
You must check that out. It's also very, very cool. It stars the guy who played Rob Stark. What's
Yeah,
his name? Richard McFadden or something like that.
Richard Madden.
Madden, that one.
Someone else came
So like, yeah, I
on the
think you really enjoyed.
podcast, and they were arguing with me that he wasn't in Game of Thrones, and I'm like, he was literally Rob Stark.
Baby girl, he was literally Rob Stark. Like we saw him die after he cheated on his fiancee with a nurse
Oh, cheated on.
who he
I
decided
mean,
to get married to. He had a fiance. He was betrothed. That's why he got killed. He was betrothed.
So you read
And then he met the nurse, and then he's like, yeah.
how much cooler is the book version though, where Tywin Lannister kind of manipulates for his wife to, well, the girl to like seduce her up. So he
It's
kind of
like, I really like the books because they're way more technical.
yeah, he like puts the red wedding
Like
in
you
motion.
really dive into the lore.
Yeah,
It's
so
crazy,
I
dude.
love it. I'm like, he convinced because they were like bannermen of the because it wasn't like a girl from another country like in the TV show.
Yeah, she was afraid. She was originally afraid. Yeah.
Yeah, she was the other girl was a bannerman of the Lannisters, and then he got her. Rob Stark was hurt there. They kind of hooked up, and then Tywin went to the phrase and like, oh my gosh, I can't believe that they betrayed you.
These guys have betrayed you.
We
Like,
should do
I wouldn't
something.
take this if it was me.
Brilliant. Oh, I love Tywin Lannister. I like a good
Yeah,
manipulator.
literally, like I love this all Machiavellian scheming and stuff. Like
So I love the
I like how it's written from perspective. I like how it's being written from a perspective though, the books, because
Yeah.
then you actually know what's going on in a person's head as they're doing stuff. Like that's something I really appreciate.
Another thing I wanted to ask you was that you called Christopher Nolan the Brexit Michael Bay. And I thought it was the
That is something I stand by.
brilliant thing I've ever heard in my life. So please explain, like, to the listeners why you say so.
Because this guy makes the most self-indulgent movies you will ever see. Like he likes his things, and he wants to make sure that you see his things in every movie he makes. So like the way Michael Bay, literally every movie, it doesn't even have to be Transformers. You're going to see an overhead shot of a helicopter landing, guys jumping out of the helicopter in slow motion. Christopher Nolan, you're going to hear horns drown out all the audio. A guy will be in the middle of a very technical speech. You're just going to hear dun, dun, and now we must all just sit there and deal with it. But then more than that, like this guy is just obsessed with time travel. He's obsessed with time travel and telling non sequitur stories. I don't mind a non-linear story because Quentin Tarantino does the same thing. But Christopher Nolan just adds an extra layer of convolution that doesn't need to be there, but he tries to add it anyway so that people watching the movie will be like, what on earth is going on? I need to watch it again, Or maybe in the case of Tenet, when I watch it, people will just be like, you know what, actually, this is nonsense. I'm leaving. There was 4 of us in the cinema and 2 people walked out. They said, no ways.
Oh my God.
Like I was searching the hashtag people are upset. He's the most ridiculous person. Like he's just too self-indulgent, dude. Because I don't know, conceptually, a lot of his movies are very cool, but then he keeps adding an extra layer of convolution. And there's always a character. And there's always a character in the movie that is there to explain things, but then they're explaining things, but then they just disappear halfway through the movie. In this one, it's like Clemens Poesy. She explained the time travel thing at the beginning of the movie. You don't see it again for the rest of the movie. And now, next thing you know, everything is making sense until, like, let's say an hour in. And then suddenly Christopher Nolan just starts doing his things. Then you start seeing like people moving backward in time while you're moving forward in time. Then you're like, wait, what on earth is happening here? Then you start seeing everything, like the sound gets reversed. You literally can't hear what people are saying. Like, it's just you can even that's literally it. So like I've been saying this for a while because he started this with Inception. You saw it early, you know? But then, you know, like people were calling me a heretic when I said this about Inception as well. But I'm like, guys, listen, if you actually watch this movie, like this guy's actually full of nonsense, you know? Because like he added like, he explained the 3 layers thing early on in the beginning of the movie. But then he added like a 5th layer, like when they were in snow with the pyramids and everything. And people were like, okay, wait, hold on now. And then he leaves that top spinning at the end so that we have to think, is it a dream? Is it real? We'll never know. Maybe we need to watch it again. Prop up those box office numbers, you know? So he likes doing that sort of thing because I went online after I watched Tenet and I was like, I know the way I understood the movie because conceptually it makes sense. You just have to ignore the Nolan parts of it. But then I went to the thing and then I'm like, okay, wait. So the way I interpreted it was correct. But then he added these extra layers for no discernible reason, which is something I kept saying. I'm like, he didn't have to do this. He chose to do this. That's his problem. He's sci-fi Tyler Perry.
I haven't seen Tenet, but like I don't know, the only Nolan movie that I really like is The Prestige, and
that's my favorite Nolan movie as well.
I stand by it.
Yeah, better than The Dark Knight.
Yeah,
Prestige was crazy.
Definitely, no, it's the best one. No, definitely better than The Dark Knight. The Dark Knight is good though. I will give it that. I like The Dark. I actually like.
No, it's fantastic. It's an amazing movie. I've literally watched it like 15 times. But like, dude, come on, Nolan, come on, mate. You know, like Prestige is like the perfect balance of Christopher Nolan. If he made all of these other movies the way he made The Prestige, we'd be fine. But then he started taking himself too seriously. The thing is, Christopher Nolan started sucking his own dick. That's a problem. I'm tired of his nonsense. Don't get me wrong. His movies are very cool for the cinema. Like, you can have a really good time, but like, if you're watching the movie seriously, you'll get irritated. And this doesn't just apply to Tenet. It applies to most of them. But like, you'll have a good time. Like, it's very well shot. Like, he always gets like co-stars with like really great chemistry. Like John David Washington and Robert Pattinson were amazing in this movie. I truly believe Pattinson's going to be a good Batman.
Me too. I thought that was like such a great casting.
Honestly, and you know, and one of my controversial opinions is like, I really rate Ben Affleck as Batman as well. I thought he was really good.
Yeah, I didn't. I must be
the
honest.
Movies were terrible, but him as Batman. I only watched
Batman v Superman. That's the only movie I've seen with him in. And I mean, it was just long. I can't really remember anything else.
Martha! Oh, that's what everyone remembers. Martha!
After that, I was like, I'm tired of this nonsense. And I can't watch all these movies. I watch like one and Aquaman. And I watched the Suicide Squad.
Yeah.
But then I was like, I'm not going to bother with Justice League. I can't. No. And I was like, Snyder Cut.
Yeah, Justice League, I watched it at home. I would like to because the reviews were just tragic. Snyder Cut, I will see because people keep insisting it will be good, but I doubt it. But Wonder Woman, I thought it was fantastic. I still think she has the best theme song of like all superheroes. Hans Zimmer really did a madness there. Aquaman, I thought it was fun because it showed like DC was going in a direction of like, listen, man, not every single movie has to be like ridiculously dark. Shazam was really good as well. I really enjoyed that. I'm looking forward to Black Adam. Dwayne Johnson, like, you can't miss with that guy. He knows what he is. That's something I appreciate.
That's I'm like, they're so good when they lean into like the funness of it. And I think, I mean,
I like people who are typecast because I know what I'm signing up for.
But yeah, no, I get what you mean. Like, those ones were fun, and I think they're gonna go in that direction more now. I think they're trying, like, in Deadpool 2, when Josh Brolin turned up and Deadpool was like, "Are you sure you're not from the DC universe? You seem a bit dark." I was like, "That is so brilliant, so brilliant."
Yeah, zip it, Thanos. I personally like that sort of thing. Like Deadpool, I watch in the cinema because I know I'm gonna have a good time.
Yeah,
That's why I like the cinema. I want to have a good time.
but like with Tenant, do you think like Christopher Nolan was right in like insisting that it should have been like it should be seen in the cinema?
Yes, 100%,
Yeah, so
100
like
million percent. Same with Dunkirk.
yes, Dunkirk too. But it's like the whole
No, he's
thing.
100% right about that.
I don't even think I think I watched Dunkirk at home, but it's like 1917. I'm so glad I watched that in the cinema though. Like if I
Yeah, that
watched it,
looks like Sam Mendes. Like that looked like it was like it did really well in award season. I haven't seen it yet
did it?
because like I find war movies boring in general.
No,
But like I imagine it's right. Sam Mendes is a very competent director.
yeah, and it was like it was so brilliantly shot that I know, but also like it was such a focused movie that if I was watching it at home, I would have been on my phone and I wouldn't have any idea what that movie was about.
Yeah,
But
exactly. That's the
but
problem with
because
some
I
of
was,
these things. Like
I was just saying like
there's
because
certain
I was
things
in
that
the
have to be in the cinema.
mm, like they are. But Shem, like I felt bad because it's like it felt like it was like Nolan versus the cinemas or Nolan versus like COVID because he just
Corona,
wanted
yeah.
his movie to come out and people are like, we can't open the movies for this one movie, but he wanted his movie to come out.
Yeah, no, it's very fair. Like in controlled environments, it makes sense. Like I watched it in like a middle of the week sort of situation. Like
Mm,
I say, there was only 4 people there, so I think cinemas can come back in those forms. Like much more intimate, like prestige or like
yeah.
very limited seating sort of vibes to maintain social distancing or whatever. But as an industry, we'll see what happens. I think the main thing is like a friend of mine was saying to me the other day was like, what's going to happen is like 10, 15 years from now, you're going to find that someone like after COVID is long since dead, you're going to find someone saying that, oh no, I miss the nostalgia of the cinemas when I was growing up. So then he's going to bring them back in some form and then we'll be back.
Mm. No,
Like drive-throughs are back now.
yeah, exactly. Like I don't know what's gonna happen, but I see that a lot of films that were finished have pushed back so that they can only be released next year because they want like the full box office, like James Bond,
Yeah, Black
Black
Widow and stuff
Widow.
like that. They need to recover their money, yeah.
But it's like they could release now on streaming
Yeah.
or in like limited cinemas, but they don't want to do it. But I think
Yeah.
the only movie that's gonna give me back to the cinema is that Zola movie. That's the
Oh
only movie
yes,
I
the
want to watch
script.
so badly. I would go to the movies to watch it.
That will be amazing. Oh my goodness, I still can't believe a Twitter thread became a movie.
And like it got really good reviews at the festivals that it went to. So, which like gives me,
Yeah, Riley Keough is in it. She's very good, so I trust them.
although she was also in an episode of Riverdale, so I don't know how much I trust her judgment.
She was in an episode of Riverdale. She was in an episode of Riverdale. She was the video girl in Justin Timberlake's "Knock Me Out." She was in that Dakota Fanning movie, The Runaways, and she was the prostitute in Girlfriend Experience season 1. Excellent.
Yes. The Runaways, is that the
Really,
one
really
that also
cool
had
stuff.
Kristen
No, she's
Stewart?
good. Yes, that's the exact one. Where they're like, yeah, they're literally like runaway girls, like very naughty. So she's very good.
Okay. Yeah, no, I'm
She can
excited
act,
to.
but she's a bit bleak. She's a bit bleak, but she can act. Like you're not gonna see it in like a rom com. She doesn't have the face for it. Like she's a very serious person.
But she's
You're
like,
like, yo, girl.
her being in that movie kind of reminds me of that blonde girl. Um,
Oh, she was also in Mad Max Fury Road.
yes, she was one of the girls.
One of the brides, yeah.
Yeah, one of the brides.
It was
Um,
Rosie Huntington Whiteley.
and Joe Kravitz.
Mm. Hey, that guy had great taste, to be honest. Jealous down, guys. Jealous down.
Um, what was I gonna say? Oh, about Riley. She, so she reminds me
She
of,
reminds you of some blonde girl.
yeah, from Orange. The one from Orange is the New Black, not the main one.
Oh yeah. Um, um, which one are you thinking of? The one that committed, or Ruby Rose vibes?
Ruby Rose vibes. Taryn Manning. Taryn Manning.
Ah, yeah.
Like the
I
type of
see.
roles that she picks, not the way she looks. But like the roles
Yeah, no,
that
I
she
get
picks, like
you.
that indie side girl,
I see you.
always a bit
Same
grungy.
WhatsApp group. Same WhatsApp group. That's what I'm
Yeah.
saying. I can't see that girl in a rom-com. You know, it's not her vibe. She can be like in a very cool drama, like probably even be like Oscar nominated, you know. But like in terms of like fun time roles, like I don't think that's not her region. But that's what I like also. I like people who stick to what they know. I appreciate that.
So, okay, wait, before we go, this is the question I want to ask. So, I remember you once saying on Twitter that the best wag to be is an NBA wag. But like,
Yeah.
I wanted you to like explain your thinking behind this.
Okay. So so the thing about NBA wags is, right? NBA has in American sports, there's the three sports, there's NFL, NBA, and MLB, right? With NFL, like it's more stable. Like you always see those are the ones that get married and like the cheating is fairly minimal and stuff.
Yeah.
But NFL salaries aren't guaranteed. And the only people who really get paid are the quarterbacks, as well as like let's say like the absolute best in their positions. And that's only like one guy, maybe two, you know. But now the thing about NFL is like your salary isn't guaranteed. Like if you get injured, which happens a lot,
Yeah.
because it's NFL, you don't get paid as much. Maybe you'll get like let's say 65% of your salary. That thing makes a difference. There's a big difference between $10 million and like 6.5. So if you're a quarterback, fantastic, because those guys like the baseline now is about 30 million. But like again, you don't always get it if you get injured. So and there's only 32 quarterbacks, I should say, across the league, or like 32 quarterbacks across the league, but only like maybe like 10 or 15 serious ones. NBA has the highest salaries of the three sports, and and their salaries are guaranteed. There's no cap in MLB, which is baseball. So that means that the salaries can go up for whatever, you know. A guy can get paid 50 million a year if they wanted to. I don't think any guy does that, but again, that's also only for like the absolute best of the best. So with NBA, because there's the league is literally only 400 people. Like there's only like 430 players on the total NBA roster, and you already know that I think the lowest salary, like rookies, make like $2 to $3.5 million. So this is a guy straight out of university. He's making $3.5 million, and it's guaranteed. You see. So now, like a guy like LeBron, literally just his base salary is almost 40 million.
Sure.
Just base salary. That doesn't even include endorsements and stuff. Because I think they say LeBron's net worth is about 700 million US right now. You know, you've got guys like Steph Curry, because chances are, if you're even like slightly decent, you're gonna get like endorsements and stuff. And then the best thing about being an NBA wag is those guys are really indiscriminate about their cheating. So what will happen is you will get cheated on, right? But literally your man's teammate would be willing to be with you. It happens all the time. So like you've got much more like, let's say, job security. Like there's a lot of labor turnover. Like they share a lot of people, but at the same time, as long as you stay in the league, you're more or less fine. You know, that's why All-Star Weekend is such a big deal. Like that's like the World Cup final for like baddies. Like listen, like All-Star Weekend, all the best of the best are gonna be there. Guys were getting new contracts, contract extensions, bonuses, are all gonna be there. So you just need to make sure you get chosen. So if you can get yourself to like the WAG level, you'll be fantastic. If you can trap them with a baby, even better. Like this one guy, Steven Jackson, you probably never even heard about him. He was an okay player. He's not like, I don't think he's in the Hall of Fame, but he's won like a title in his life, but he was like average, right? Average. But he's paid over $10 million in child support in his life. And this is a guy you've never heard of. You see, now imagine you hook like a LeBron or something. You saw what happened with NFL wags. If you want to understand NFL wags, you watch E! Entertainment. Do you remember Kendra's show?
Yeah.
You remember the way she married that NFL guy that had a baby quickly? Then he got cut. Then she was a breadwinner. She's like, what on earth is happening here? Like, life can come at you so fast in the NFL if you're not careful. Even with footballers' wives, like basketball wives, you see those girls, I don't know, they might even be on season 10 by now. You know, those girls aren't even wives. They were all like girlfriends and side chicks. It was like one wife in the whole thing, you know? Like, but those girls have been able to sustain themselves at a very high level simply because of the money these athletes make, you know? Because I mean, like, Future, by the way. Future's net worth is only like $10-20 million. But now a mid-level NBA guy has that kind of money, you know? A guy you probably never even heard of.
Sure.
So that's why I say that's where it's at.
Nah, I get it. And I was like, Demi Lee, now Peters, her husband, was NFL, and now he's MB. No.
Then he's
No.
MLB, yeah.
I was like, okay.
No, she's comfortable. She's very comfortable. Tebow made some decent money. He was very average in NFL. He made some money, but not amazing. But then in MLB, he's like having a good old time of it. So like they're comfortable enough. Honestly, she could have done better. This is my issue with Olivia Culpo as well. Like Olivia Culpo, I think is a worldie. Like I think she's gorgeous, but she's always dating the most average NFL players, you know? Like she doesn't even date quarterbacks. It's shocking, you know? Like she could really be with like a $30-40 million guy, but now she's always dating like a second choice like wide receiver or something, you know? She's always dating like an average oak. Like she's actually an underachiever for someone of her talent, I should say. So that's always the issue.
Holly Robinson Pete, she kind of like, she became like a professional wife.
Yeah, that's her life, dude. Some people choose to live this life. I watch like Real Housewives and stuff. You see people be married like 4 or 5 times, dude. Be married like 4 or 5 times, maybe have 2-3 baby daddies. You just need to pick your baby daddies properly, like Kamora Lee Simmons. Get real boilers, you'll be comfortable. You just need to decide what you want for yourself, you know?
100%.
You just have to be focused.
So this is our inspiring conversation for the week.
Yeah, hey, guys, you could be somebody. That's my
choose wisely.
Big advice for people. Just choose wisely. Like back yourself. Like you need to look in the mirror and say to yourself, I am somebody, you know? Like I'm not saying I'm the be all end all, but I am somebody, you know?
It's like they said, like, Zosie must date, like, whatever. They keep giving her, like, actors and stuff. I'm like, no, she needs to go, like, top leagues.
Yeah, she must either grab an A or B list actor, or she must grab a proper athlete, you know? She mustn't fool around. Like, she doesn't need this. She doesn't need this. Like, for someone of that potential, because even, like, regardless of, like, fame matters. Like, being in the public eye matters, you know? Like, there's no point in you, like, if you want to, like, settle down with someone, like, why are you, like, choosing to settle down with, like, a scrub, so to speak? You know? Like, I mean, like, even you think about, like, Eva Longoria or Scarlett Johansson, they're married to, like, marketing executives, guys we've never heard of, but they're executives. These guys, like, can hold their own. They're taking care of themselves, you know? Like, there's no aspiring anything in the guys they're with. You know what I mean? Like, you just have to be focused.
Even Salma Hayek.
Salma Hayek is with a billionaire. I think the guy might be like second richest guy in France. She's gone. She's gone.
Defos. But Lebo, thank you so much for joining us on the podcast. This was so much fun.
This was really, really fun, Caryn. Like, so cool to like finally meet you. Started on Twitter, now we're here. This is fantastic. I suppose this is the cool thing about Corona. It's bringing like so many people together. Like, you never know.
Yeah. But
I'm really glad. This was like a lot of fun. Like, I've been catching your back episodes as well.
Yeah, no, I enjoy it. My problem is that I forget that this is like a podcast, and I'm like, I just think I'm talking to people. And that's when you were like, at the one point, you were like, for the listeners who might don't know, I'm like, shit, I forgot about the listeners. But yeah.
No, honestly, like, it ends up in a black hole. I feel like we could go on for forever, honestly.
Yeah, definitely. So I have so many thoughts and questions and whatever. But thank you so much. No, like, this was loud.
But you have my number. WhatsApp me. You know where to find me.
I will.
This was really cool. Thank you so much for having me. If I've offended anybody, I'm sorry, but also not sorry at the same time. So we move.
That was our interview with Lebo. You can find him at Mr. I'm Just Saying on Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. I don't know, I said Instagram so weirdly. You can also find his videos on internet scammers, Cardi B and Offset, Will and Jada, and much more. So yeah, please check it out. This is where a lot of my questions came from, because I watched his videos and I had more thoughts after that, and he explains more in the podcast interview. But also, there's so much more. The internet scammers one just came out, and I'm telling you, it is so funny, but also so true, because he talks about the mistakes that the scammers made. So he low-key gives advice if you want to be an internet scammer. These are the things you do not do. I'm not gonna spoil it, but it was brilliant, so funny. But before we head out, what have you been crashing on this week, Rebecca?
This week I finally got a chance to watch Life on Our Planet.
Oh, yeah.
Is that what it's called? Yeah, with David Attenborough. And as suspected, I went through all the emotions, which is essentially what makes a good thing to watch. Makes it a good thing to watch. And I particularly liked it because he ended it with not like a doom and gloom sort of like, oh man, this is the end of the world, let's all just give up. He actually he gave good solutions, achievable solutions to what we can do as individuals. And the one thing I found the most interesting is that he focused on the education of young girls and to keep young girls educated for as long as possible and how it will contribute to the saving of the earth.
Yeah, for me, I've obviously watched a lot, but the one thing I've been like obsessing about that I'm just like I love is The Queen's Gambit. Have you heard about this?
I've seen it being advertised on Netflix.
Yeah, so it's this show about like a girl in like the 1950s and 60s, and she's like a chess protege. And just like how she comes, she's like an orphan and how she makes her way. But it sounds like it doesn't sound as exciting as it is. Like,
yeah, that's why I was I gave you a bit of a lukewarm ooh, because I wasn't so sure what to make of it.
It's like thrilling. Like I didn't explain. I didn't even know how to explain it. Like it's like a sports drama, like Coach Carter or something like that. This underdog who's like not like she's, you know, in this world dominated by men. She's this woman, she's an orphan, she's poor, and then she's like really good, and now she like beats all of them stage by stage. But it's like very glamorous because it's like set in the 60s and it's a great soundtrack, great cinematography, and it's just like when they play chess you just get so like into it. Like I was dreaming about chess. I wrote a really long I wrote a really long review for Channel 24, which will probably be out like this week. But I was enthralled by this show, and it stars Anya Taylor-Joy. Do you know her?
Nope.
She was in The Witch and she was in Emma, and I really just love her face. Like I think she has such a like a expressive face. And I'm also like fun fact on me, but I mean everybody knows that my favorite author is Jane Austen. Like so cliche. And my favorite Jane Austen book is Emma, and she was in the movie and I just loved it. And I originally pitched to review it because I just knew she was in it. Like there was nothing else that sold me on about that. And she's in there, and the little boy from Love Actually, he's
okay. All grown up now. Yeah. So a bit of continuity there for you.
Yeah, Love Actually, Emma, Dudley Dursley from Harry Potter. It's a smorgasbord of people.
Wow, and it's about chess.
I know nothing about chess. Before we go, we just want to give a shout out to two people who reviewed us this week. Saskia J on Apple Podcast, who said, OMG, Twitter Caryn and Rabbit Rebecca are friends and made a podcast. I didn't listen till yesterday for homesick, nostalgic reasons, but really enjoyed it. The guests are everything with some great recommendations mixed with good conversations. Thank you so much, Saskia. We are so glad you enjoyed it.
Thanks, Saskia.
And then non-nepotism or anything, but also to my nephew Thomas.
Cute.
He's 13 years old and he was a fan of the show, so thank you to him too.
Brilliant.
Just remember, you can review us on Apple Podcasts, rate and review us, please. It helps other people find the show, and we really, really, truly appreciate it. Like sometimes it's dreary and hard work, but those kind of things keeps us motivated. So thanks so much. Also, you can review us on Facebook. If you don't listen on Apple Podcasts, review us on our Facebook page, which is What's IGN Crashing On. And that's all from us. Me, you can find at Caryn Walby on Instagram, at Caryn Walbys with an S on Twitter, and sign up for my newsletter, Wildest Dreams, at wildestdreams.substack.com. The podcast can be found at Crashing On Pod on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. You can find more information about this and all our other episodes at our website, crashingonpodcast.com.
and send any feedback to crushingonpod@gmail.com. Join our Facebook group, Crushing On Club, where we chat about the show, celebrity news, recommendations, the whole shebang. Let us know what you think about what was discussed in this week's episode by sending us a voice note or email to crushingonpod@gmail.com. The show is produced by me, Caryn, and Rebecca Barches. The show is edited and engineered by Rebecca Barches. Our logo was designed by Nathifa Maroof. And the show was created in partnership with IGN Africa. If you like the show, tell everyone that you can any way that you can. Keep up to date with all our episodes by subscribing to the show on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts. And please rate and review the episodes on Apple Podcasts, as it helps others find the show. We'll be back next week with another in-depth conversation with a pop culture lover. See you then!